Well, it would have been cool if that had ended like now, because then I could have come in with them. Why am I hearing that? I don't want to hear that. Oh no! What is that? Well, let's try that again. Oh, look. Uh-huh. Scared yet? If you,
Why? Because the children are all gone. They're not on the lawn.
Oh, no.
But it's not Halloween. It's September 1st.
Yeah, but, you know, it might as well be Halloween. What?
Why?
That was scary music.
Yeah, well, that's a normal day in this house.
Yeah, that's the truth. It's like, well, honey, I'm going to go write some stuff for a murder show
That's
now.
just another Thursday here.
Just it's Thursday, and, man, you know, it's crazy. I keep wanting to slip into Christopher Walken.
Well,
I'm not
you
going.
need to stop that.
I'm not doing it.
Or I'll be playing the murder music. Oh, Gail's heading over to the Poconos to see a Fleetwood Mac tribute act. And so she's gone for the weekend.
Okay, well, have a wonderful, wonderful weekend.
It is Labor Day weekend. Be careful.
That's
and
got
have fun.
is the Poconos? Is there gambling in the Poconos, or is it just resorts?
You asking me?
Well, I mean, the way I know the Poconos, yeah, right. What am I thinking? The travel guide from
That's
Ding
like
Darling.
asking me, is there hunting in, I don't know, I don't care.
You don't care if there's gambling in Pennsylvania? I don't know if there is. I know that there's a lot of resorts because it's very much where I learned to ski. I learned to ski at Vernon Valley, I think it was.
Oh, okay.
And found out about the ski patrol at Vernon
Paul Cooper
Valley.
says yes.
Yes, what?
There's gambling.
Oh, well, okay.
And hunting?
Yeah, they get to hunt gamblers.
I'm not going there.
Well, listen. Life's a gamble,
Gamblers,
pal.
man.
Life's a gamble, man. Just go outside. Did you see that lady walking into the food store today? Boom!
She didn't get... No, there was no gunshot.
No, I mean, boom. The guy grabbed her from behind, tried to steal her fake necklace, which is
It
like...
was, fake gold. Uh-oh. Paul said yes, gambling and hunting and skiing.
Skiing is,
Steve
probably
learned
my
to ski
favorite
there,
of those, yeah. Yeah, man, I learned to ski there. Funny, with Larry McGowan, of all people.
And a doctor.
And a doctor and his
Not-
kids. My
not
friend
Dr.
Alan.
Larry.
No, not Dr. Larry. No, this is BL, before Larry. No, Alan. And he said, I'm taking the kids skiing this weekend. Would you guys like to come? We're like, okay.
Was that... Was he still with Judy?
Yeah.
Did she go too?
I don't remember. I don't think so.
I think you would have remembered.
Yeah, I would have remembered. But and it's, the first time you go skiing, and I was probably, I think I was 21, 22. And the first time you go skiing, there's nobody saying, okay, this is what's going to happen, and then you're going to do this. And so you kind of look at what everybody else is doing, and you do what they're doing. And so we get the ski, we're in a rental line forever, and we finally get these skis where we put the boots on and you can't walk in them. And then you realize that, okay, those are the places where people line up to get to the top of the mountain. But how do you get to the top of the mountain? Well, you get on the ski lift. Okay, if you've done it before, no big deal. You know how you step over to the right, sit down, it picks you up. The bar comes down, I'll see you at the top. Larry, not so much. Not how it went.
Well, Paul Cooper
Larry
says that's a sitcom in itself, Larry on skis.
Oh, I mean, I could do the whole hour on
Yeah,
this, bro.
we
This
have
is
him on
this
a
is.
skateboard, I
Yeah, I got him on a
think.
skateboard. I have him. He's in my skateboard movie. Anyway, yes, Larry on skis. So we get to the top of the mountain. They stop the thing. Larry gets on it. We go up to the top, and then all of a sudden you see how you have to get off. And the thing like goes straight, and then it makes a sharp turn, and starts going back down the mountain. And so Larry says, "What do we do when we get to the top?" I said, "I guess we start skiing." And sure enough, we get off the thing, and Larry like
Gail's got a quiz for everybody.
stumbled a wee bit. All right, the quiz coming up.
Quiz.
And I said, "Well, Larry, you think you can handle this?" And he says, "Sure." And I'm going down the mountain doing the snowplow. Long story short, it takes me a long time to get down because I'm snowplowing, but I make it all the way down. I don't see Larry. I don't know where he is. I get back in the line. I go back up to the top, and who's wrapped up in the ski patrol gondola but good old Larry? Big piece of foam under his arm, bandages all around him.
With his faux fur coat.
Yeah, with his faux fur coat. It looked like
And his Elton John glasses.
quite a sight to see. Dislocated his shoulder. And
well, I almost hit a tree, so
yeah, so be sure to take your friends and
he had to fall in front of me so I didn't hit the tree. Not Larry,
yeah,
Steve.
Well,
Yeah.
and she's one of those kind of people that almost like a frickin' Buster Keaton movie, you old people. She'll maintain her balance like for a half a mile. Instead of just falling down right away. No. Let's pick up a little speed first. Let's be like going 80 and right towards that tree. And you just keep it together, Law. You're going to hit that tree in a second.
Try not to fall.
Try not to fall. It's more important to not crash into things.
Well, I have crashed into. Well, I didn't crash into that tree, but I have fallen.
Yeah, no.
A lot in my life, and knock on some wood. I have never broken
She
anything.
is man. I've never. She's got to have like Teflon bones or something.
I'm like Gumby. That's me.
Hey,
Okay, want
kids.
to hear Gail's quiz?
Yes.
Okay, quiz. There are two bands in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame who were inducted as part of the band and again on their own name. So I guess the band members, right? Name the two bands or the band members. Which one are you asking us? I know Stevie Nicks got inducted with Fleetwood Mac and then on her own.
As Stevie Nicks.
And then, who else?
I don't know if Lindsey Buckingham.
No. Are you kidding me?
Okay, I'm sorry. No.
You can't even
Yes,
draw flies.
certainly. Oh. You couldn't draw a crowd with a pencil.
Unless Stevie was there.
Well, anyway.
I don't know who else it would be. Would it be
See, now that's-
Ozzy maybe?
Bruce
With
has-
Black Sabbath?
Oh, Ozzy and Black Sabbath?
Ooh.
No.
No? Who said no?
It wouldn't. I didn't say no. Well, I said no, but I wasn't. Actually, that was my answer.
Oh wait, she says two bands. All the members of the band.
The Eagles?
No.
All the members of the band.
All the Crosby, Stills, Nash and Young? Ooh.
Well, this is a good one. Starting to piss me off. No. Two bands. I'm a little still confused about the question.
She's okay. Two bands got inducted as a band. And then all of the members of each of those two bands got inducted.
Wow, I
Roger
don't-
Chaffee says the Rascals. I don't think
I
so.
don't think so.
No.
Traveling Wilburys,
They would
maybe.
have had to have done solo stuff, you know.
The Wilburys.
They got inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
I'm running out of stuff here.
How about the Beatles? But Ringo.
Well,
Ringo? Maybe he did.
No.
Ringo? The Beatles?
why would? Well, I don't know. I mean, Ringo.
Yellow Submarine?
Are you going to tell us, or what? Steve, Steve, you guessed who I did? Oh, yes. Who? I don't know. See, this is
Steve, you guessed who I did.
ding, ding, ding,
Well,
ding.
do you know the
Yes.
answer, Gail? You're giving the quiz.
Yes.
Who knows the answer?
I don't know. Yes.
Beatles, then Ringo, then Paul. Okay?
Well, anyway, it was an interesting
And we
point to
went to all the
ponder.
band.
And it's funny because I have a meeting tomorrow about the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame,
Right.
concerning the upcoming John release.
Who was the other band?
Who is the other band?
Gail? Don't you keep us hanging
Was it?
on.
Yeah, you need to say the whole thing. It's like when
Get
you.
out my life, why don't you, babe?
Here I go.
Oh, Emerson, Lake and Palmer.
Emerson, Lake and
That's
Palmer.
what she says. What?
All right, I'm so I feel like I'm being punked now on
Wait,
live.
and then she says, not Emerson. Okay, Gail, you don't know the answer.
What is the answer? Not Emerson.
I don't know. Not Emerson?
I don't know.
I would have thought him before Palmer.
All right, listen, we can't.
Then she says Crosby, Stills, and Nash.
Okay, so then maybe it was the Hollies and Crosby, Stills, and the Birds.
I don't know. How
and-
much have you had to drink, Gail?
I don't know. Would you have give me a sip,
She's
please?
starting her Labor Day weekend
She
early.
Labor Dayin'.
All right. Well, shall we get on with the show? Now, that was fun, though, Gail. But, like,
Yeah, just what don't
have your
have.
answers ready.
Let's not play darts.
Sue said she got it. Gail said Sue got it. She did.
Yeah.
All right.
Oh, so it's contagious. I see.
Sue, I took pictures of my little zinnia seedlings.
She's out there. I'm sitting there doing work on, and I told you how all these frickin' Apple devices talk to you. They have their own club now. I think
Yep.
they're using the car when we're asleep. I don't know what's going on. Anyway, I'm sitting there yesterday, and I forget what I was doing. Something to do, either an editing thing. I think I was on an iPad, and all of a sudden these pictures of zinnias are popping
Well,
up. And I'm saying,
you
what
couldn't
the
tell
hell
it.
is this? I'm being hacked by like nice naturalists.
I didn't send them to her because...
No, you sent them to me.
No, I didn't send them
Well,
to
they
you.
pop-
Apple did that.
Oh, Apple did.
So I came in here on Facebook to send them to her, and what do I see but beautiful sunflowers that she writes. Look at my sunflowers in my backyard.
This is
And
is this a gospel song?
I
So
am
I
not
came
a-
in here, and what did I see? I saw some pictures.
That made mine look horrible. And I was embarrassed and didn't post them. So there you go, Sue. Keep planting flowers. Keep putting those pictures of your beautiful flowers. And you won't see mine.
I wondered, she's been in a bad mood all day, and I just couldn't
That was
understand.
yesterday, Steve.
Oh.
You were today.
I don't know.
Oh, let's listen to Ivan. Maybe he'll put me in a good mood.
Yeah, Ivan, man, let me tell you what, this guy, I have so much respect. And, and of course, we show you, it is our goal to show you the animal in its habitat in the wild.
Yes.
And Ivan is one of those very rare creatures that can be found on all the continents at any moment. It means he works a lot. He's one of those guys that you hear his name. Oh, do you know Ivan? Oh, yeah, I know, yeah. And, hey, do you need a bass player? Well, he's like a monster player. It's incredible that he can wear.
He plays 3 gigs sometimes in one day. He'll play one in the morning and one in the, from 6 to 9. Then he'll go over to the Red Lion and start at 1 there.
And the only person that I know that even comes close to being that crazy.
It's Tony Montana.
What?
You'd have to be doing a lot of blowing.
No. I was talking about, didn't we have a friend who played at Giant Stadium and then wanted to go jam at La Barbat?
John?
Ding, 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 ding. Come on, let's go.
Yeah, but see, Ivan can't get drunk and fucked up and get on stage.
Well, he can, but not more than once.
Paid for these gigs.
No. He is first of all, he is the consummate pro. If you need a bass player for anything that you would need a bass player for,
He's great.
he's your man. And
And
very
he's from Gatlinburg originally, Tennessee.
yeah.
Then
Well,
he moved to New Orleans and was a
hey,
DJ.
let him watch the show.
All right, let's watch
Hey,
the show.
hey!
Hey! I saw Tony Montana. What can I say?
You gotta love the accents. You want to do Selena Gomez for him?
Well, you can't really open your lips that much, and you can't talk really loud because I won't be able to see who killed who that way, and I just don't know. That's my best Selena Gomez.
That's it. Now I would get her to do her Taylor Swift look for you because you won't be able to see it. But I have a picture of
Oh
her.
my God.
She does the best Taylor Swift ever in the world.
Oh, you are such an ass.
I am. Should I get the picture up?
No, you should not.
Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, my good friend, I'm proud to say, my friend, my fellow musician, one of the workingest guys I know, and monster player, Ivan Bodley. Here we go. We're throwing back, but we'll be here.
Ivan Budley.
That's pretty awesome. Hang on, where's my?
It was one of those nights, man.
I'm lost in space. There he is. There he is. There he is.
Hey.
There we go. Now I got you.
All right.
Oh, double
Hey.
vision. I get it.
Yeah, it's for monitoring purposes only.
No, hang on. Let me turn you up
Hey,
over
let's get in
here.
that band too.
No, he's not.
Okay.
Go ahead, hit me.
Hey, man, you got me?
There you go. How are we doing?
Good, man. Great to see you.
Good to be seen and good to see you.
Been a long time, brother.
It has. Do you remember the last time? I'm wondering.
Specifically, no. I mean, it would have
Well,
been probably
somewhere.
the Triad, right, with Bobby Nathan or something,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Yeah.
And China Club and
Yogi,
Spodies,
Lamar
Yeah. Hither and yon, as we like to say.
Hither and Yon. And man, how cool that was. I don't know if you know who that was. That was Sam Moore.
I heard about it. Yeah, that was one of those shows, man. You know, like one of those rare nights where you get to perform for 5,000 of your closest friends, and you know what happens. Like, you know, you may have been on tour you're playing together for years and years, but there's certain nights where everything is just firing on all cylinders. The audience is on fire. The musicians are on fire. Sam was on fire, and they happened to be recording it for live television. So it was just like, it was a perfect storm. It was great.
And you know, I remember when that song came out, and I remember learning it, and what a great time in music, and the fact that you get to dance there, that's like that's pretty freaking cool.
It's a lot of fun. I mean, it's been, you know, I was music director for Sam on the road for 13 years, and I just loved every minute of it. He's tremendous. He's one of those performers. He's got a true first tenor voice. So I don't care how big a rock star there is in the world, like they all come to him sort of like kneeling before him because he's got this amazing instrument. He came before them. Springsteen, all those guys would sneak into the back of the club to watch Sam and Dave when they would come through town. So standing next to Sam over the years, I've gotten to say hello to and shake the hands of Robert Plant, Sting, Bono, The Edge, Springsteen. Stop me anytime. You know, like all these people come to him because he's one of those artists, one of those voices. You know, and it's amazing to.
Yeah,
to
no,
hear
and
that.
I get that wholehearted. I mean, I get that. Because,
Yeah.
you know, I've had my experience in that, you know, separate. But I'll tell you, my only experience with Sam Moore was at Atlantic's 40th, I rode
Yes.
elevator with him and Mary Wilson, and I forget who else was there. You know, the elevator that goes down in the back of the
Sure.
garden.
Sure.
I didn't say anything to him, but, you know, that was enough.
That
To
suit,
drive
that
it.
red suit that he was wearing that night is in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame right now.
All right.
I have no doubt. He
So-
was a cool dude, man. He still is a cool dude. I
More
mean,
importantly, though, if you rode the elevator with him while wearing that suit, your DNA is also in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. So think about that for a minute.
Oh, he's got
Well,
his drumsticks.
yeah,
in there.
I have a little smattering throughout I may have snuck in, and it's
Couple of
interesting.
samples.
Yeah, really. Well, just hope Jurassic Park doesn't get a hold of it. But no, and I was reading, I read, it was interesting. All the guys that you've played with that are in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. That's
Right.
I started thinking about that, and it's interesting to look at it on that level. It's cool.
That started kind of way back, sort of as I was getting into the classic rock and roll, classic soul sort of era. You started to realize these people were getting inducted, and suddenly I started to run a tally in my head, like, well, that's another one, the Shirelles and the Drifters and the Coasters and all these things, And then after a while, you realize either I can't hold a job, which is why there's so many of them, or just have had a great deal of good fortune to be able to work with so many classic artists.
No, that is just good fortune, and it's also look, you have to have all three legs or the stool won't stand up. You got to have you got to have the gift, you got to have the drive, and you got to have the opportunity. And when you get all three, boom.
It definitely helps to know what you're doing, because if you get the opportunity, as you know, when you come in the door, if you get an opportunity, you don't get invited back in the door unless you can then do the job, and that's the trick, I think.
Yeah, and the thing about it is, well, let me ask you this, because everybody finds their place where where their talent matches their dream, and it doesn't get better than that. But coming up, right? When before it ever happened, what was the music? What did you come up playing or wanting to play?
Well, it's funny because I came to music really late. I didn't pick up a bass till I was a senior in high school, so I kind of had this whole life before then where I was just listening to records, and my mother's record collection was very hip. She was super into Gladys Knight and the Pips, so she had that. I Cantina Live at Carnegie Hall album, Stevie Wonder, Signed, Sealed, Delivered. So I grew up listening to those records.
So yeah,
and then that was the background. That's where it all came from, the soul music.
Yeah, that's in your DNA. And did you play? When you were a kid and you played in the kid band, or did you play that music? Or
I never did that. I was never in a kid band. I was like, the first band I was in was my senior year in high school, and that was already like playing our high school talent show. That was like the first gig I ever did. We were playing covers by Rush, The Police, The Stones, Tommy Two-Tone. That was kind of the program at the time. So
I get it. Yeah.
Yeah, I came to it very late, and then got into the classic soul thing sort of because that's in my, as you say, in my DNA, my roots. Growing up in the South too,
I totally get that, and I'll tell you. I grew up with music in my house as well. My mother's record collection was a little bit more dated than yours. Hers was Glenn Miller, and I had the
West
Buddy
Side
Rich,
Story.
West Side Story, the soundtrack, which is still to this day, one of my absolute, if not my absolute favorite piece of music.
Bernstein. There's nothing heavier than Bernstein. Forget it.
Not that tritone thing throughout. It's just ridiculously cool. And well, anyway, so now I'm getting chills, and I'm gonna have to watch it again.
Okay, so wait, you're from Chattanooga.
Yeah, so I always thought you're from New York, but you're from the Tennessee.
Chattanooga, Tennessee, born and raised. When I was 17, I got out of there as quick as I could and moved to New Orleans. So really, my early musical education was in New Orleans. So I was learning at the feet of the Meters and the Neville Brothers, and I stole all of George Porter's licks. I befriended those guys. I'm in touch with Aaron Neville to this day. I pals with Ziggy Modelis from the Meters and those kind of things. So that's kind of really where it got into me, like playing that kind of music.
Yeah, you were hanging at Tipitina's.
Correct. 100%. And I was also working at the college radio station. I was music director for the college station. So all the acts that would come through, we were co-promoting their shows, so we were interviewing them on the air. So I interviewed the Red Hot Chili Peppers the very first time they came through in a van in 1984. I have some autographed albums in the other room, I got the Ramones and the B-52s and Stanley Clark and Jaco Pastorius, all these people we'd have down because, we were a 1,500-watt college station that covered the metro area. So when Jaco played Tipitina's, he came to my station to be interviewed to promote the show that night. I got to meet him and hang out with him.
Yeah. Which way did that football bounce?
Yeah. Well, you know, I only had one experience with Jocko, and it was a beautiful one. He was lucid and articulate and clean, and he was at the radio station. Ingrid was there with him. The twins were toddlers. They were running around, you know. And then I saw him that night at Tips, and he was just on fire. It was him and Mike Stern and Kenwood Gennard. And later in the evening, right? Well, check this out. So later in the evening, Kenwood gets up and Ziggy Modulus sits in. So I saw Jocko and Ziggy play together, playing Sissy Strut together, and that's just as heavy as that ever got. You know, it was like amazing.
Wow, that's, and listen, you know, those are the beautiful things. You know, I mean, those are the things that only exist in your memory and only in that live experience. And it's, you know, when I wanted to do a show, you know, everybody was doing, you know, I'm playing here or I'm doing this. I wanted to connect with guys. And I thought this, you know, listen, I love to talk shop, and I love to talk shop to my friends that hear shop and speak shop.
Sure.
And I remember a quote from Eric Clapton. Somebody said, "Eric, what's it like to be the best guitar player in the world?" And he said, "It's very lonely because there's no one to talk to." So, you know, I mean, ask a stupid question, but it's kind of the impetus for me doing this, because I miss those chance encounters. Ivan, you're out with Sam, man, I'm playing, you know,
Right.
I miss that. And I miss the China Club and the jams, and
Sure.
this is as close as I could get.
Well, that concert that you just played the clip from, the Tokyo Jazz Fest, you know, we were on right after Robin Ford and right before a band from Oakland, California called Sly and the Family Stone.
Oh,
Right?
love Sly.
And there were four of them there. Sly was there, Sister Rose was there, Jerry Martini and Cynthia. They were all there. And it was just like watching that from the wings. Can you imagine, you know, seeing that from the wings?
Can I imagine?
Unbelievable.
You know, I want to tell you my Sly Stone story, but I've told it so many times, people will run away.
Yeah.
But we're connected now, and this is a rhythm section as far as I can tell. So we have to kind of stay connected, and we will. And I'll tell you the story one day. It's not quite like yours.
Well, I have one other Family Stone story that was 20 years later, like 2019. There were a bunch of 50th anniversary Woodstock type celebrations. And the band that I play with in the Village called the Days of Wild, basically, you know, Papa Gayosha's, we do like Prince, Sly, and JB covers. That's kind of our entire repertoire. So because Guy's big claim to fame was he played with Sly in the early 80s. He was in his band for about a year, like 83. So there are pictures of him playing at the Lone Star with Sly. So he's befriended everybody sort of in that circle. And because of this Woodstock 50th thing, we got hired as a band to be the band for Gregorico to do the music of Sly and the Family Stone. We kind of basically did the Woodstock set down in North Carolina at a festival. And we were playing right before the Jefferson Starship, right after Diodato and Vanilla Fudge.
Wow.
So I'm playing with Greg, and you've seen Greg, like he's all elbows and weird technique. But the second he hears his hi-hat, you know immediately that's Gregorico. That's him. There's no other buddy that sounds like him. I don't know what it is about him, but he's immediately identifiable. The touch. And in the wings is Carmine looking at us like, wow. Like Carmine wanted to talk to me after that set because, you know, Greg was one of his heroes because a contemporary, but still, you know, one of the heroes as well.
I just had Mark Stein on the show the other night.
Yeah.
Right. Cool.
And it's like, you know, this whole little stew going on here is, I mean, it's made me rethink a lot of musical things. You know what I mean? I don't know what's going on out there. And I had taken the year before 2019 off, you know, because I was in another project. So I spent my whole life on a stage live.
Right.
And finally, I have a recording studio with my gear set up in it. I'm more into, you know, doing the studio thing, and it's safe in there.
Yeah, right. Well, you see what's happening behind me here is exactly the
I
same
see.
thing.
Yeah.
You know, it's like this is the become the lockdown haven, and I've been doing things sitting right here into the.
See, now you just moved your head in an interesting direction, and I saw the alembic.
Yeah.
Uh-oh.
I see it too.
You know who that was built for, don't you?
I
John
do.
Entwistle.
I certainly do. Did you ever see the heritage model that we did?
I didn't know. No, I didn't.
Oh.
That's the exploiter. That's the 8-string exploiter.
Oh, is it 8-string?
Yep. Yep.
Ah, yeah. Does it have the Canon connector?
It doesn't. No. It was built for civilians.
Oh. Yeah, as soon as you, man, amazing. Well, tell me what else is hanging up there. I think I see a Music Man.
Oh yeah, well, there's a Music Man. It's the Sterling by Music Man, so built in Asia, but the Sterling model. There's a Gretsch hollow body up there. I got a couple of these glittery ones over here, made by Moxie Guitars. You know, out of New Jersey. I've got some exotic hardwood things made by Warrior Instruments down in Tennessee, and all these basses I got up. I play like 2 of them. You know, I keep a Fender Precision in the bag all the time. That's kind of the go-to, the A bass, as it were. You know.
Yeah. It's hey, listen, if you like what you're playing, I'm that way. I mean, I don't have I have a million drums, but they're like only in 4 sets.
Right.
But I love my instrument, and I play it until there's a reason not to or a reason to change it. And, it's just the way it is for me. It's especially because, for drummers, I mean, we get inside it. So it's, it's like a little igloo in there. And
right. It's similar over here too. Like, a lot of like all the Stax stuff that I do and all the Motown stuff that I do, those are all recorded on Fender P basses, all those things. So if I'm doing that, if I'm doing a disco gig that was produced by Chic or something, that's when the Music Man comes up, for that one. So but whatever goes in the bag will stay in the bass bag by the door, and it'll stay there for like 3 months until I have to switch, because I need a jazz bass for like when we do the Sly and the Family Stone thing. That's all Larry Graham played, jazz basses. So the jazz bass goes in the bag, and that stays in there for 3 months. But lately the P bass, I've got a purple metal flake one that's like an Adam Clayton from U2 signature model with a jazz neck on it. It's very, very pretty, very pretty.
Wow. Well, I'll look forward to seeing that, because I love guitars. I mean, I'm a drummer, but I've had several. I have a couple that I still really love, and some that I inherited, so to speak. But you just made me think of an interesting thing. Did you see what was the name of the festival that they've been, the music festival that took place in the park? Same year as Woodstock.
Oh, the Harlem Festival.
Yeah, the Harlem.
Yeah, it just occurred to me that Sly played that and Woodstock.
He did. He absolutely did. Yeah. And I haven't seen the film yet, but I've heard a story already about it, because if you get to see it, which I haven't yet, but apparently Greg is set up 90 degrees. He's facing stage right.
He is. That's right. He is facing stage right. Yeah, Summer of Soul.
Summer of Soul. Do
Yeah.
you know why?
I have no idea why.
Because they had no monitors. So Greg always looked to his left when he played naturally. So Sly said, set up sideways so you can keep your eye on me and watch me all night. That's what happened.
Wow.
Physical thing. There are no monitors. So he had to watch him.
His brother sang. That's what, Booker King?
Yeah, of course.
Well, Booker is a friend of the show. He's actually watching right now, and he had told us that Sly's brother sounds just like him, and he sang that whole show.
I 100% believe it. I 100% believe it.
Yeah.
They're called the Family Stone for a reason.
Yeah. See, now I gotta tell you the Reader's Digest story.
Okay.
1970, I'm in Studio A. The Rascals are just finishing up a session. Studio A of CBS, Midtown.
Yeah.
And we go in, we're laying tracks for somebody, and we're trading for time, right? This is 1970, the Rat Race Choir, the original guys. And I'm done with the rhythm tracks, and they're going to overdub. Hubert Laws was playing flute on the session, right?
Oh, wow. Nice.
They said, got to go up. Edgar Winter's up in Studio E. And I said, oh, okay, I'll go up there. So I get in the elevator and it's got A, B, C, D, E. And, you know, if you've been there, I'm sure you know. And all the studios are exactly the same. And I go up to Studio E and there's Edgar Winter. And he's recording whatever, and they're playing it back through the bigs, and it's like so dazzling. And you can see I'm like 16 years old. And you open up the elevator opens up into the lobby of the studio, and if the door's open, you just walk right in. He said, "Come on in, man." And then he starts to say, "You want to get high?" Well, I'm like, you know, I'm a 16-year-old kid on one of my first recording sessions. Of course, I want to get high.
Of course, you want to get high.
Am I not wearing this shirt?
It
Anyway,
would be rude not to.
Exactly. Yeah. So anyway, long story long, he pulls out the joint that has the mark on it. Okay, you know, for me that was always the last one from the good batch, but Edgar did things a little different, and I hit this thing twice and realized I need to get out of here. And I'm pretty sure that I was dusted or whatever. I don't know what it was. I'm standing in the elevator for what feels like a half hour. It was a half hour because I never pressed a button. And all of a sudden, this tiny room that I'm in starts to move. And I'm telling you, man, I'm tripping. I'm like out. And the door opens and there's Jimi Hendrix.
Oh, okay.
And he's all dressed in purple and white and the whole, and not only is it Jimi Hendrix, but he knows me and he's glad to see me.
Oh.
And I'm like,
he's dead.
What? Because Hendrix is dead. So now I think this is a Paul is dead thing and I ruined it and they're going to kill me. And so Jimmy says, you know, come on, man. And he's talking to me about Rosie and did this and did that. And we go into the vocal booth and I'm sitting on a little tin folded chair and Jimmy's in a laid back chair with his feet up on another folding chair. And they've got an 87 that they're positioning in front of him. And they say, all right, let's get a check on that. And he goes, one child rose up to be.
It was Sly.
It was Sly. But I was so just.
You were so wasted. You
Yeah.
thought it was Jimmy. He was so wasted. He thought he knew you.
Yeah. So that's
sure
my
I'm sure he was glad to see you too.
He was.
Yeah,
Oh, he was. And I was glad to see him. I was glad to see anybody. I felt like, what am I doing in this little room? Terrible thing. But anyway. Oh,
Well, I want to know what brought you to New York from New Orleans.
That's an interesting question. My mother's family is from Brooklyn. My mother grew up in Williamsburg. And I ended up living in Williamsburg, just down the street from there for about 25 years. So I always we would come visit New York when we were kids. You know, about once a year we'd come up to see the family, the extended family, all the aunties and uncles, and we'd go out to the provinces, to Queens and Brooklyn, and take the train and see all the. So I always felt kind of like I had extended roots here. In fact, my aunts and my grandmother's 102. She lives in Manhattan still, you know, lives by herself. So I always felt like I felt comfortable here because it was exposed to me from a very young age. And then also, as I was sort of getting into the music thing, the music business first, I got into the music business first because through the radio station thing, you know, the labels were sort of based here. And the music that I was kind of enjoying seemed to be based out of New York. So I'm thinking, like, New York seems to be the place, you know, for me. And I gave it a shot in '86, and the record company moved me out to LA immediately. So I was an LA guy for another 3 years, and then I came back in '92, and I've been here ever since.
wow, that's pretty cool. Because Laurie's from New Orleans. She's from Slidell, just across the causeway.
Right over the high rise.
Exactly.
And I worked in New Orleans.
Yeah, she worked
I lived in New Orleans too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was
All of a
Tulane
sudden,
kid.
Slidell's not good enough.
Well, no, but I was a hostess at Brennan's, you know.
Sure.
Yeah, no.
That's
And I'll
enough.
tell you what, the first time I ever went to New Orleans, because I'm from New York, right? And if I see it's Tuesday night, October 6th, if I see that many people drunk on the street,
Well,
I'm
this was-
waiting for somebody to get
This
shot.
was 1982.
Yeah, this is 82.
Yeah, I
And
was there.
well, okay.
So we're waiting.
So I'm coming, you know, I'm the city kid coming down and I'm seeing people with drinks in their hand. It was like, what?
Go Cubs.
Yeah, go cups. It was
Go Cup.
took some adjusting, but I got used to it.
And we went to
Well-
Pato's.
Right.
Yeah,
Absolutely. Well, can you imagine trying to go to college and keep your eyes on your studies in that environment? Because that's what I had to do.
did you go to LSU?
I was a Tulane kid
Oh,
uptown.
Tulane. Okay, right.
Yeah.
Oh,
No, I can't imagine that at all, especially with the music scene. I mean, if you were just a regular person, that would be one thing, but no.
Well,
Wow.
I immersed myself in it immediately. Again, through the college radio station, we were co-promoting all these shows at Tibatina's and Jimmy's and the UNO Lakefront Arena. Like all these people would come down, and Return to Forever came through,
Oh,
Bangles came through, all these people. So that was kind of like my entree, and as well as absorbing the local music scene. We would see Alan Toussaint and Professor Longhair was gone by then, but I saw James Booker once. Radiators I saw many, 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 many times. And then when I graduated, the first job I had out of school was as a publicist, working in the publicity department for Epic Records. So immediately, that was coincidentally, that was the time the Radiators got signed to Epic Records. So suddenly I went from seeing them every week at Cooter Brown's to working for their publicity department. And Stanley Clark, who I same thing, I'd met him at the college station. He was an Epic artist, so I became his publicist and been a pal of his for 35 years, since 85. I've known Stanley, kind of thing.
that's awesome. I mean,
There's all this local stuff, and seeing the Neville. I used to see the Nevilles once a month. You just never fear. Anytime they're playing, it was going to be an amazing night of music. Do you know Willie Green, the drummer? Do you know Willie?
I know he is. Yeah.
Oh, what a powerhouse!
That's pretty awesome.
I've got the virus, man. Yeah, no, it's
No virus. No.
I've got it all. I got everything you want.
Yeah, no, yeah. You got the DNA. You got the dust of music all over you.
Yeah.
And that's a good thing. So speaking of the dust of music, no. What am I thinking? I have another track. Is it the Crab Walk?
The Crab Walk, yes. That's the latest single on Color Red Records out of Denver, which is run by Eddie Roberts from the New Master Sounds, if you know those guys. That was one of the tracks that I recorded in quarantine. I did about 2 albums worth of material just sitting right here doing this, exchanging files with my other friends who have recording rigs at their house. And this track has Moses Moe from Mother's Finest on guitar.
Oh.
It has Crispin C.O. from the Uptown Horns.
We had Crispin on the show. Great player.
Yeah, great player. And not for nothing, but he's the guy who played the alto sax solo on James Brown's Living in America, which is all I ever needed to know about him. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Mark Newman on guitar, Kenny Soul on drums, my friend Doug Hendricks on percussion. And we assembled it. I think Kenny and I possibly played the rhythm track together in a room right before the lockdown, but everything else was assembled post-pandemic or during the pandemic, I should say.
Well, that's listen, that's a beautiful thing. And aren't we lucky that, I'm lemons, lemonade, luckily we have the technology to keep the creative process growing, and moving and getting nurtured. And, it's not like we're stuck and now what do we do? You know what I mean? It's kind of like that, obviously, in some ways, but at least we can communicate and we can share files, which I will tell you about when we come back from your track. So this is the Crab Walk, and all those guys are on it. Is it Crab Walk? Am I calling it right?
Crab Walk, exactly right. That's it.
Well, here it comes. Right. I'll meet you back here when it's over.
Cool.
And boom. Ouch.
Yeah. Crab walk.
Awesome, man. That's
so
that
cool.
crab was walking.
I love the
Fun one.
video.
Yeah, it's
Right on.
cool.
Yeah, the pandemic turned me into a videographer, a video editor, a sound mixer, a producer. Like I've had to cement all of these skills that I've maybe had just a casual interest in before now. But now that we're stuck at home, like I got to figure out how to be an audio engineer, like for real, to mix that, and put it all together, and here we are.
Hey,
you
turn
know?
me into an astronaut.
You know what I'm saying? It happens. You got to be careful what you wish for.
No, listen. I only wish for stuff that I want to happen because I believe in the law of attraction. But you know,
Yeah,
there
that
you
was a
go.
great song.
That
too,
really
man.
was cool, and now I understand. Where did I'm a nickname guy, and I'm sure I have more than I know about. But where did Funk Boy come from? I mean, I get it, but where? How did that happen?
That had nothing to do with my playing or musicianship. That had to do with me being a college radio DJ, because of all the stuff that I grew up with. Or as I told you about, all the soul records that I knew about. I knew who King Floyd was, whereas none of the other suburban white kids, Tulane, probably had ever heard of. So, like they started calling me that. It was a nickname is best if it's bestowed upon you rather than taken, for oneself.
Agreed.
So-
Oh no, agreed. And yeah, it's it's fitting. Certainly.
I haven't resisted it. I embraced it, but it was bestowed upon me, and I said, I'll take that, and I've had it. It's been stuck to me, ever since.
Now, is that video on YouTube? Where
Yeah, how can
see
people
it?
get
Yeah.
how can people get closer to the experience?
Yeah.
100% is on YouTube, and everything, links to everything that I do is at my website, funkboy.net, funkboy.net. Links to all the
Okay.
socials, all the YouTubes, all the records, all the everything.
Well, that's cool,
I'm
man. Because
posting it
I
now.
want to hear more. Well, okay,
was
so
very cool.
I'm sure that that was that was pretty, and I love the video. Believe me,
It captured
I'm a DIY guy these days myself.
Sure.
I like I said, I have a studio here. When we bought this house, I had a studio, a real studio built for me so that I could actually, because in Fort Myers, 17 years ago, there was nothing. And I had an opportunity to,
those studios. Yeah.
there was no studio. You either had to go to Miami or up to Tampa. And I had an opportunity to co-write and produce an album with Brian Johnson and Cliff Williams from AC/DC.
Right.
And it's like, these guys are not going to drive to Miami. And they're not going to drive to Tampa, even though Brian lives in Sarasota. He was happy to come down here, and Cliff lives here. So we found a place, but that was it. I said, and that was before we bought this house. We've been here about almost 13 years, but yeah, man, that was like, how do I do? And it came out good. The guy's studio, although it was a hybrid, some digital, some tape, some who knows what.
Right.
He had good mic pre's, he had great mics, and his rooms were nice. So,
Well, I
That's
think
really-
a lot of that is exactly as you say. It's the monkey, not the banana. Like if you have something to say and just a sort of a modicum, like you don't have to have like the most newest expensive gear to be able to make a decent sound. The recording, the digital audio workstation. I hate that word DAW. The DAW I'm using is
Oh,
yeah, it's the baby version of Reason. It's the $125 version of Reason Essentials. Like I don't even have all the bells and whistles in it. You don't need it. It's not necessary to say what you got to say. And all the video editing, I do that on iMovie on the iPad. Like all those tools-
I do it on same thing. I mean, I got the whole,
Yeah.
But okay, so this brings me, before I ask you the big, I decided when I started tooling this thing up, I'm always tweaking it because no matter what, I don't know who's watching, and whoever's watching, I want them to get what I would want them to see if they were watching. So.
Sure.
So I tweak, and when I was putting the thing together, and I decided to to do because it's not a guest and it's not an interview. It's like so some people ask me as many questions as it's a conversation,
Sure.
and it's that conversation that we would have in the hotel bar or in the back of a bus. So and But
The
I
China
figured,
Club. We've had many times already at the China Club, I think.
yes, we have. Yes, in the office. Let me ask you something.
Okay.
Because I've had many guests that have, we've shared the
Brought
office
up
with.
the office.
Can you verify whether the bathroom actually works or not in the office?
Oh, that's a fascinating question. I know I can neither confirm nor deny.
Right.
Carmen Rojas is
Yeah.
the one that
Carmine
Yeah.
Rojas is the one
Yeah, he
who
was
started that
Yeah.
that string going around. So
Yeah.
yeah, it's you know what, it's a lot of fun. It was, and we were lucky to have it when we had it. There.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was fun.
That was a lot of fun,
Yeah.
and we did okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
That whole scene migrated over to the Triad, and then it migrated over to La Bar Bat, and it was
Yeah.
kind of like a traveling carnival that kept going. And I remember
Yeah.
John. I remember when John came down to the China Club one time, and I was there. And I think he borrowed Mark's bass, and he turned the. It was a Trace Elliott combo, and he turned all the EQ faders. He lifted them all up to 11. Turned the volumes all the way up to 11, and the bass was just screaming feedback. It's just going, woo. And John is looking around like, is that it? There's no volume.
He
Well,
loved the China Club.
Yeah, he loved it there,
Yeah.
and we spent a week there one night.
Yes.
But and I'll tell you, because you mentioned Barbat, and I remember it was
Media
like
Center.
1989, and the Who was playing Giant Stadium,
Oh yeah, sure.
and they did Quadrophenia with like 1 million people, and there was a whole orchestra, and it was just insane. And John, the minute the show was over, he said, "Let's go to the Barbat and play."
Yep.
Sure. He had
So
enough of
was
the stadium. The stadium isn't boring. He does that every day. He wants to go hang out in the bar and jam.
It's exactly what he wanted to do, and it's what he loved to do.
Right.
When it was great, that's what they were doing. Not that
Right.
listen, there's nothing wrong with playing stadiums. I mean, it's not the best acoustics in the world, and it's not the best exchange with an audience. But if you're playing a stadium, something's doing okay.
Okay, so a similar story, not quite as grandiose as yours, but we were doing a fundraiser down at the Hard Rock in Hollywood, Florida, with Sam Moore for cancer research. I can't remember. Big fundraiser. Anyway, the celebrity host was Nico McBrain. And we set up 2 drum sets on stage because we were going to do the Sam Moore set. And like, Nico, you want to sit in? He's like, yeah, he wanted to sit in. So he ended up playing the entire show with us, 2 drummers. And then there was a bar, a lounge there that had just a covered band in the bar. And after the show, we all went over there, including Nico, took over the stage. Like, you guys take a break. We're going to play, he wanted to play Aretha Franklin covers all night. That's what he wanted to do. And I was like, it was amazing. I played with him like all night, basically,
Well, it's the funny thing is after John passed, I wound up doing a lot of fundraisers, and we had the foundation and did that whole thing. And what I discovered in that time, I played with, I can't even tell you the amount of guys that I played with, and it was the same thing with everybody, whether it was Xander or the AC/DC guys or Mark Farner or Eddie Money or Billy Squire. I mean, just everybody wants to play something different. And when I was out, when Xander really wanted to put a band together, that's all we did was play his favorite songs, Led Zeppelin and the Beatles, and Baby Blue. Yeah, it was just we were in that band and nothing else mattered.
He's in St. Pete, right, Xander?
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Because I did a New Year's Eve gig in St. Pete with Gloria Gaynor and Sister Sledge. That was a double bill for New Year's Eve. So that day we were walking around town, and there was somebody was doing a sound check at a venue. I don't even know which one it was because I'm not from.
Wow.
All right. Well,
And Xander burst into flames, and
that's because he had that straw hat on. Well, Ivan, Funk Boy
Yeah.
Bodley.
And how weird is that? I always thought, because like I said, when you work as much as we all did back in the day, you don't really get to meet. If you're in a band, you don't really get to meet a lot of other musicians because you're not going from gig to gig and doing that. And I always heard, oh yeah, Funk Boy, Funk Boy. And I played with him. I think the first time we played together was Barbat. And I'm waiting to get Funk Boyd. And when I realized he was so good that you don't even notice it, that's like, no wonder that guy. And I don't know if you understand what I mean by that. He's so perfectly where he needs to be
Right.
in the groove that it feels like almost like you're doing it. I can't really explain it any other way, but
I get
it's
it.
well. Then there you go. If you get it,
Well,
then
but you know, I live in that musician world. Man.
yeah, I know. I know. Play me a flam.
No, why don't you get Chris to do that? I'll play you a paradiddle.
I know you can do that.
Carl.
Well, you're supposed to speed up your paradiddle.
All right,
Well,
anyway,
there you go.
Ivan
Man,
Funk Boy, he is very unique, very nice and personable, and very creative.
and go
we
to his
love
Facebook.
Crab Walk, man.
Yeah, go to his Facebook and follow him. He always drops an interesting story and
Well, he does a podcast.
right, but I mean, if you just it depends how you listen. If you have the time to listen to a
His podcast is a page or two or a chapter out of his book. He'll read it on his podcast.
Yeah, but
He
I'm saying
thinks
if you
outside
just
of
want to
the
drop
box.
by wherever he is in the world, he always drops a photo and
Yes, he does.
and a little knowledge on
He'll
you.
say, "This
And
is Monday nights."
it's funny to watch his antics, and you're sitting there going, he was just in California this morning. Now he's in Paris. Anyway.
Yes.
Great guy, great player.
Now-
That was a great show, and we'll have to have him back on again.
Pat Romano says, Ivan is great, and you're absolutely right, Steve. He's always right for the situation he's thrust into.
Yeah, and and I think, well, I know for sure, there's all kinds of players in the world. There's guys who just want to do their own thing. I'm Eddie Van Halen, and this is what I do, and I like these other things. But then there's the other guys that like the James Jamersons or the Bob Babbitts.
Yeah, he's one of those. Did you hear him say he learned the whole book for some gig like in 2 nights?
Yeah.
Some people
Because-
will say, "Oh, I need 2 months." Well,
Well,
guess what? They're not doing 3
gig's
gigs
over.
a day.
Thanks. See ya.
But no, and his video for Crab Walk, it's like perfect, and it captures the pandemic because that was in lockdown in New York City during the pandemic.
Yeah. Anyway, he's a great guy, a fantastic musician.
We really
And,
like him, if you can't tell.
Yeah. But that's the beauty of the show. That's the beauty of doing this and, reconnecting with all these people. And,
But we will have him on again if he's got a free night.
yeah, if he's got a free now, otherwise we'll have him on from the gig.
Yeah.
He'll tape his iPhone to the end of the bass, and who knows what we might see.
Okay, so tomorrow night, Free for All Friday,
You know
the
what that
beginning
means.
of Labor Day weekend.
Oh yes, and it's going to be a serious weekend. We're having the professional Labor Day weekend, which means there will not be a show on Monday. There will be no
no
show on
labor
Monday.
for us on Monday.
No labor for us, and God knows if our guest for Tuesday will actually make it. But we will be here
Do we
Tuesday.
know who the guest is?
I don't know if I'm allowed to say.
Well, the way you said that, it made it sound like it was somebody that you didn't know if they would show. Oh, you mean they might be a little burnt from the weekend?
Right.
I gotcha.
Or Angus might have screwed it up.
Either way.
Either way. You know what? It's always fun at our house. So
All right.
come
so
on back.
Tomorrow night, Free for All Friday.
Yes, Free for All Friday, and you never hose who's gonna know up. Okay?
And go watch your PBS, bitches.
If I don't see you in the future, I'll see you in the pasture.
Good night, everybody.
Whoosh. Over and out. Oh, thank you.